Alright guys, so you've just watched that video again, similar to yesterday, or last lesson, sorry, and we introduced this phrase, sokotoa. So this short video here is just going to run through some examples for you, so remembering copying these examples down into your workbook, completing them before completing the exercise. As always, 10 quick questions to rock and roll through before we start. So I'd like you to have a go at these questions without your calculator. Remember, when we're expanding algebra, that means we want to multiply out the brackets. So what we're going to do is, let's undo that. Turn that on. We're going to go, we need to multiply them together. So negative 12 times 4x, or negative 12 times 4, it's negative 48x. We continue our algebra on. We've done that. Now we also need to go negative 12 times positive 10. And remember, a negative times a positive becomes a negative because their signs are different. And 12 tens are 120. So our answer here is negative 48x minus 120. So be careful of multiplying your negatives out. We need to multiply everything inside the brackets by the number that's out the front. Have a go, finish off those remaining 9 questions, and as always, the answers for those are at the end of this lesson. The first thing I would like to do here is, the question says, write the trigonometric ratios for the following. What that means is, when we say write the trigonometric ratios for the following, I just want one of these 3 statements. That's all, writing one of those 3, whichever one of those applies to the triangle that we're looking at. So this triangle here, the first thing I would like you guys to do for me is what I call setting up my structure. Now, the structure, if we remember back to last lesson, there were 4 steps to labeling the sides of the triangle. And those steps were, what's the hypotenuse? What's our reference angle? Label the opposite side. Label the adjacent side. Those were the 4 steps I asked you to look at. And before we do anything about labeling trigonometry, we need to label this triangle here. So the first thing that we said we needed to do was, what's our hypotenuse? Well, there is our hypotenuse there. The next thing we asked you to do is, where is our reference angle? There's our reference angle. Then we talked about, what's the opposite side? Well, the opposite side was on the other side of the triangle to our reference angle. So there's our opposite side. And finally, the last thing you are asked to do is your adjacent side. And remember, our adjacent side is the side that is next to the right angle and next to our reference angle. Sorry, I said that the wrong way around. But anyway. Okay, so I've now labeled my triangle. First step, no matter what it comes down to trigonometry, label the triangle. Now I'm going to go through and go, okay, well, what information do I have? My hypotenuse, well, the hypotenuse we can see from our triangle is 7. What was our reference angle? Well, our reference angle was that Greek letter theta. What was the opposite side? Well, we have no opposite side. So I actually have nothing there. So I'm just going to leave it blank because I've got nothing. And what was my adjacent side? My adjacent side was 5. Now I'm just going to pause here and I'm going to write sokotoa. And if we look at our structure, see how I've got something that deals with a H and something that deals with A. They're the only 2 sides I have. I have an A and I have an H. Because I have A and because I have H, it means I must be dealing with I must be dealing with the cosine. So to answer this question, what is the trigonometric ratio for that triangle there? Well, I'm dealing with A and H. So the first thing I'm going to write is cos. Remember, cos stands for cosine. And then in brackets, I'm going to write the reference angle. Well, here my reference angle was theta. So theta. So cos of theta is equal to, and remember, the fraction goes in the order. It's A, H. So I need to do A over H. And the trigonometric ratio for that triangle is cosine of theta is equal to 5 over 7. All right, take a moment, pause the video, write that down, get your head around what's going on, and we'll move on to the next example when you're ready. All right, next example. Example B, again, I'm going to want to write my trigonometric ratio for this triangle. I've got that written in a different order, apologies. I want hypotenuse, I want reference angle, I want opposite, and I want adjacent. All right, so let's go through and label our triangle. Our triangle, here's my right angle, so that must be my hypotenuse. There's my reference angle, so the other side of the triangle must be my opposite side. And then finally, that third remaining side is our adjacent side. And remember, it's the side that's next to the reference angle and next to our right angle. So going back to that structure, our hypotenuse, well, I have a value for it. It's 9. Our reference angle, I have a value for it. It's x degrees. My opposite, I have a value for it. It was 4. And my adjacent, I've got no information about my adjacent, so I'm just going to leave it blank. Again, now I go back to that phrase by SOHCAHTOA, so SOHCAHTOA. And let's see what we have here. So here, if I look at what information I have information about the H, I have information about the O. Right, so looking up at SOHCAHTOA, which one of those only deals with O and H? It's the SO, right? And SO was sine. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to write sine. Remember, we only write it as sin, short abbreviation, but we pronounce it as sine. So sine, in brackets, I need to write the reference angle. My reference angle was x degrees. So sine of x degrees is equal to, and remembering the order of SOHCAHTOA, so it's OH, so that means my fraction that I'm about to write has O at the top and H in the bottom, or O is my numerator, because remembering fractions are our friends. So O, my opposite side, is 4, and my hypotenuse is 9. So the trigonometric ratio for that triangle there is sine of x degrees is equal to 4 over 9. The opposite side over the hypotenuse. All right, Year 9, hopefully those examples were okay. If they weren't and you still got some issues, remember you can always touch base with your teacher via inbox on Canvas. As well, there's the Maths Clinic form on the online learning tab where you can fill in some information and ask for some help that way. Today's work is exercise 4E, just question 4 from the Cambridge textbook. With each one of those triangles, please make sure you draw those triangles down in your book and then write the trig ratio that you need to find next to it. And as always, make sure you mark your work from the solutions. If you do make a mistake, go back and write the correct answer down and fix up any working out that you may have made the mistake with. Take a photo of your work and upload it via Canvas, and that all needs to be done by Friday at 3 p.m. All right, guys, awesome. Take it easy, and I'll see you next time.